Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. I'm just going to kind of do a quick video on the Shield series because it has evolved quite a bit. And the Shield, which started out, and these are all Smith Wesson by the way, the Shield which started out with basically the original Shield, so the Shield consisted of one line of guns, started out with 9mm and then expanded. Now this is an M2.0, so this would be the second generation basically of the Shield series. I didn't really like the triggers and some of the other functionality on the first one. This is mostly an improvement of the trigger and some ergonomic changes, the serrations and stuff like that. But you might actually consider it to be a fourth or fifth generation because they made changes throughout the whole line. They improved the trigger every year on the original one until finally they come out with the 2.0. So all of these guns have been fully checked by both of us, so I won't have to go through every one of them like this. But this original Shield came out as one of the earlier available compacts, single stack, thin, relatively light, and easy to carry, but limited in capacity, held 7 rounds. This is also available in 40 and 45. The 40 and the 9mm are all about the same size. The 45's a little bit longer, about a 1/4 inch in each dimension, and it's about a tenth of an inch thicker, and you lose a round of capacity. Now I'm showing all of these with the flush mags. Many of these, like the Shield and the Shield Plus I'm going to show, they're available with extended mags. The EZs, not all of them have the extended mags yet, but they will. That's one of the things that Smith & Wesson's pretty good about getting mags out there. So this original Shield is really the earliest of the regular size subcompact single stacks for Smith & Wesson. Yeah, they had the Bodyguard, but it had a hideous trigger, it was a DAO, etc., etc. This is the first one that you probably could actually like. Then the EZ lineup came out. So I've got the 380 here, and the EZ is larger. Really doesn't hold a whole lot more. It holds an extra round, but it has a noticeably longer grip. If you compare the two, get them lined up a little bit, you'll see the grip is longer, about 1 round longer. But it goes from a 2-ish finger grip to a 3-ish finger grip, depending on the size of your hands. So you might wonder, well, I'm only going to gain a round, but it's a bigger gun in multiple dimensions, and I am going to line these all up later in the video. Why would I actually choose this? Well, the reason's simple. The slide is ridiculously easy to cycle. Therefore, somebody that might have a hard time cycling the not ridiculous slide, but noticeably stiffer slide of the Shield now can actually get a relatively thin carry gun. The mags are easier to load because they have this little thing on them. Even if you don't use this, they're easy to load. You have this little thing so that you can split the force that it takes across 2 hands. So I can pull this down and then I'm loading with this hand, so I don't have to do all of that with the thumb and finger of the one hand. So this line brings concealed carry to people with compromised strength in their hands or compromised strength in their wrists. They absorb recoil a little bit better, especially this 380. This 380 is real easy to shoot, hence the EZ. Easy to load, easy to carry, easy to shoot. It's also available in a 9mm. Now the 9mm, when you pick it up, just feels heavier, because it is. They had to put more weight in the slide to handle the 9mm, but it's still super, super easy to cycle. Holds the same as the 380, and one thing with these Shields, these EZs, they're all slightly different in size. 1/10 of an inch here, 1/10 of an inch there, a little bit in thickness, but nothing significant to carry, but could be significant to a holster. And I mentioned this in one of the reviews, that not all holsters will be guaranteed to be universally interchangeable across the line, but these particular ones are close enough that many holsters, and by the way, these are hammer-fired guns instead of striker, but they behave like striker guns. So they're a consistent trigger, a lighter trigger. The Shield series is striker-fired, but the EZs are hammer. But I'm going to give an example. So I've got this 9 EZ, and I've got this Crossbreed Reckoning holster. And this is an adjustable holster, so it's adjustable for the tension of how hard the kydex plate pushes against it. And it's also got this adjuster for a little plate. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but there's a little plate in there that pushes up against the trigger guard. It's right there. And you can adjust the tension of that plate, how hard it pushes against the trigger guard, with this little screw. So in the case of this one, being an adjustable holster, it holds the 9, and it holds it. But when I go to pull it, it comes right out. If I take the 30 Super Carry, which is a brand new caliber, and we've looked for an upcoming review on this. This is a brand new caliber, never existed before. Put that in there, and you'll see that it behaves about the same. But if I put the 380 in there, it does hold it, but it doesn't retain as well. Now, if this were a non-adjustable holster, that might be a problem. An adjustable one is not a problem. A few turns of a few screws, and this will hold just the same. So if you've got a very inexpensive, cheap, basically stamped kydex holster, you may not have cross-compatibility across these, especially if it's made for the 380. It might be too tight for the 9 and 30 Super Carry. But if you get an adjustable holster like this one, and we'll do a full review on this holster once we've actually had a chance to actually use it, then you may have holster compatibility across the whole line. So when you look at these, I've kind of got them out of order here, but I'll fix that in the end. But now let's move on to the Shield Plus. So Shield Plus, its big claim to fame is the magazine that I just pulled out and threw across the table. 10 rounds in the flush round magazine, and there is an extended mag available for it. But what you've got now, in roughly the same footprint, once I clear the table up and line these all up in order, it'll be more obvious. But all you've got is a slightly fatter grip. And I do mean slightly fatter. Yeah, you can see it here when you're staring down at the camera, but everything else is roughly the same. The overall dimensions, the thickness, it's a hair thicker, but not enough that's going to matter. So what they did with the Shield Plus is actually added quite a bit of capacity, 2 rounds, for actually I think it's 3 rounds, because let me go back and look and make sure I'm right. 7 rounds in the original Shield, which is this one here, and 10 rounds. So you've got almost 30% more capacity in an almost unnoticeable difference in size. That actually might have obsoleted the original Shield. You may have some holster compatibility issues between the original Shield and the Shield Plus because it is just a hair thicker, but holster manufacturers have caught up with that fairly quickly. And again, if you go back to kind of the same concept, the adjustables probably will take care of it. The non-adjustables probably won't. But why would I buy a 7-round capacity gun if I'm looking for a compact, something I'm going to try to deep conceal, when I can get 10 rounds and I'm adding less than 1/10 of an inch? And it also has some improvements in the trigger. It's kind of got a flatty trigger, and it does have a slightly nicer trigger than the already nice M2.0 trigger. Now, this is the factory trigger. I haven't modified this gun at all. This is exactly the way it came out of the box. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to line these things all up so that you can see kind of the difference in sizes between them. I've got them lined up so we can see the thickness and the length. I'll have to turn them to do the height. But starting here with the original Shield, which is the M2.0 version of the original Shield, and moving up to the Shield Plus, you can see from a length perspective, they're almost identical in length. And the Shield Plus, the grip's a little bit fatter and fractions of an inch thicker at the top, but almost inconsequential. Then we move up to the 380 EZ, and you've got definite increase in thickness. The EZ series is roughly the same grip thickness as the Shield Plus, but it also carries that overall thickness down into the body. So you can see down here, it's a much thicker gun at the top, but it's still a very thin gun overall. Then we move up to the 9 EZ, a little bit thicker, and then we move to the 30 EZ. In the magazine base, and the grip is just a hair thinner, but when I turn them the other way, you'll see that it is taller. And from a length perspective, the two Shields, the EZ and the Shield Plus and the original M2.0, they're almost identical in length. Then you move up to the EZ series. The 380 is just a hair shorter, 1/10 of an inch. And then you get to the 9 and the 30 EZ, which are almost identical. This 30 EZ, of course, that's giving significantly more capacity than either the 9 or the 380. In what you're seeing here is roughly the same footprint. So now I'm going to flip them around so that you can see the heights. So I've got them lined up again. This time you'll be able to see the height, but you also can get possibly a better view of the length. So the two Shield and the Shield Plus are shorter than the EZs. The 380 EZ is a hair shorter than the 9 or the 30. The differences amongst the EZs isn't consequential for purpose of which one would I carry. And with the two Shield and the Shield Plus being almost identical, that factor doesn't even come into play. Look at the grip heights. So the Shield and the Shield Plus grips are almost identical. It does seem like the Shield Plus is just hundredths of an inch, maybe shorter, but overall it's about the same. And then a noticeable jump when you jump up to the EZ series, with the 380 being the smallest of the EZs, and moving over to the 9. And they're roughly the same thickness, but they're slightly, the 9 is slightly taller, but not really significant. And then you get to the 30 Super Carry, and the 30 Super Carry is taller, but it does appear to be a hair thinner than the 9 or the 380. So overall, size isn't going to make the difference within the line. So between the Shield Plus and the Shield, or between the EZs, size isn't going to be why you're going to choose one of these. You're going to choose the 380 if you need light recoil. You're going to choose the 30 if you want more capacity in the same footprint, and 9 if you just like a classic 9. Now when you get down to the Shields, and I don't have the other calibers, the M2.0 Shield is available in 40 and 45. The 40 is roughly the same size, just a hair lighter because more of the barrel's bored out. But the 45 is about a 1/4 inch bigger in each of the dimensions and about 1/10 of an inch thicker. And you do lose around with the 45. So when you look at these, you're really picking between, do I need the easy rack capability and lower recoil? Do I want capacity? But when you talk about capacity, why would I buy the original Shield anymore when I can get the Shield Plus in almost the exact same footprint with 3 rounds more capacity? They may have obsoleted one of their guns with the new gun that came out. And on the 30, for clarity, on the 30 Super Carry, it's the grip that's a little bit thinner, not the overall body. Once you get up to the top of the gun, they're virtually identical. Well, hopefully this video was helpful. I tried not to turn it into a math class spouting off hundreds of numbers, because in all honesty, within the line, the numbers are so close that they're really not going to be a factor, other than the critical number, of course, which is capacity, and that will come into play. But hopefully this kind of gave you an idea of what the Smith & Wesson Shield line looks like, and what the various sizes of the guns are relative to each other. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Getter, kind of everywhere. And thank you.